No, I'm glad. I'm glad you've asked the question because it's not something that I wanted to speak about willingly off my own back, or especially publicly. But considering you've asked the question, I guess it's been put before me, and I guess I should act on it. And if you don't mind, I'm actually recording this because if I'm sharing my view on the riots, I think it's important for me to record it and I guess share it. I may as well. As I said, I wasn't planning on commenting or sharing on any of this. I like to have a neutral approach to most things, and this is one of them. So I don't like to share anything I don't understand. But considering you've asked for my opinion, if you don't mind, I am recording it. I don't think your voice can be heard, but if it is, I'll cut it off. Well, the question was, what do I think about the riots, right? And I think it starts with a question, and I think it's a question we don't ask ourselves often. What can I create, or what can we create as a human race? And for those who think this is not an important question, then it is likely 95% of the choices you make and think they're your own. Well, I hate to break it to you, but the reality is they are influenced from an external source. Right, and that's important for me, and so just bear with me on that note for a second. Riots, this is what happens when you push humanity to destruction. Violence, crime, hate, negative consciousness will only rise, ultimately dividing humanity, weakening the consciousness of our existence. I mean, humanity has no race. I mean, for goodness sake, until we come to terms with this and accept we are more than our skin tone, the violence that triggers us, the hate and poverty before us, then we will rise. Consciousness will rise and negativity will fall. And I can't stress that more than what I've just said. Unconscious behaviors, negative talks and hatred would only provoke the rise of negativity in the world. How much longer are we going to keep recycling this unconscious habit? Because it's a habit, We're not here to be destructive. We are here to rise above destruction. For years, in one way or another, we've used violence to fight violence. We need to ask ourselves, are we doing anything different? No, we are not. So what makes us think we're going to get a different result? And this is where I'd like to introduce EQ and IQ, right? Emotional quantity versus intellectual quantity. That's right. Most intelligent people make the biggest emotional mistakes because they have not learned to handle the gap between action and reaction. So they're snappy and act almost immediately based on how they feel, not knowing they are reacting to a limited belief or a traumatic past experience which is still limiting them today and running their program. This individual will be more than likely become follower and will always choose sides based on what they feel is the right choice. But the question is it really their choice? Is it really their choice? 95% of our choices today come from influence. We are losing our ability to create less and we are following more. So I guess I want to leave it with stand without anger. Stand in your power with no force or hatred. If you're allowing yourself to respond unconsciously, then you have already lost. And, I guess it comes down to self-control.